With the Denver Nuggets one game away from their first ever NBA championship, we're going to dive into some of the recent comparisons between Jokic and Murray to Shaq and Kobe. And with the recent declaration by Dame Lillard regarding the teams that he'd be interested in playing with if he were to be traded, the whole NBA world is absolutely buzzing. And last but not least, the young superstar Zion Williamson is in the news this week due to some serious baby mama drama. All that and more in this week's episode of On My Hoops. So grab a drink, grab a snack, roll something up, and keep it locked. Welcome everybody to another episode of On My Hoops. As always, I'm your boy John J. And before I jump into this week's episode, ladies and gentlemen, please drop a like. Give me a share, subscribe, and comment down below what you thought about the show or what you think could make it better. And last but not least, please hit that gold notification bell to turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on none of the upcoming content from On My Hoops. And you can also give me a follow on Facebook at John J, J-A-Y. On Instagram, JJAY_15. And on Twitter at _JJAY15. And also, don't forget to check out the show online at onmysports.com. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Man, these NBA finals, you know, they off and running. Last week when we met, when we last spoke, it was only one game in. Denver Nuggets had a 1-game lead. But now, ladies and gentlemen, after a strong third quarter in Game 4, the Denver Nuggets take a 3-1 lead and are one game away from winning it all for the first time. They go 2-0 in Miami. They sweep in Miami, so far at least. It's been a wonderful effort, not just by the stars that you would expect, but also the others, man. The others have been coming to play for the Denver Nuggets. In Game 4, Jamal Murray, he still did his thing with 12 assists, but he only had 15 points on 5 of 17 shooting. The Joker, he did his thing, 23 and 12, 4 assists. But Aaron Gordon, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 11 of 15 shooting, 3 for 4 from the three-point line. And Bruce Brown off the bench with 21 points. The others, this is what makes Denver so good. It's not just the vaunted stars that you would expect, but the others. They know their role and they are fulfilling it. Just so far in this series, I know we're only 4 games in, but Nikola Jokic so far is averaging 30.75 points per game, 13.5 rebounds per game, 8 assists a game, 1.5 blocks a game, and a steal per game. And his sidekick, Jamal Murray, is averaging 23.25 points a game, 10.5 assists a game, 5.75 rebounds a game, 1 steal a game. And Aaron Gordon is quickly rising to be the third scorer on this squad. And this finals, he's averaging 16.5 points a game, 7.5 rebounds a game, 3.5 assists a game. These boys is coming to play. Although not everybody is having a successful first finals right now. Michael Porter Jr., his role has seemed to regress. And, I mean, Miami is a strong defensive team, but you would expect more from the kid. Right now, he's averaging a mere 8 points a game and 7.25 rebounds a game. So you would hope in the next game that you can see him put it all together, at least have a strong closeout game, if that is the closeout game, for the Denver Nuggets. Hopefully they can, wrap it up real quick if he has something to say about that. But on the other side, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is somebody that coming into this finals is probably one of the hottest players in the entire playoffs. You can go back over the tapes over the last few episodes to see how much love been given Jimmy for the incredible run that he's been making. But Jimmy been playing a lot of ball. Jimmy might be tired. He's starting to show signs of slowing down, and right now he's averaging a mere 21.75 points a game, 6.75 assists a game, and 5 rebounds per game. Now, these are solid stats, but at the rate that Jimmy was playing, you would have expected more. His sidekick, Bam Adebayo, however, he has raised his level of gameplay. He's been having some solid outings, some highlight reel dunks. But he's putting up 22.25 points a game, 12.5 rebounds per game, 3.75 assists a game, and a block a game. But man, in order for Miami Heat to advance, man, they're gonna need more. Jimmy's gonna have to come alive. He's gonna have to dig deep in that repertoire, deep down in the soul, in the midst, and just pull out one of these classic Jimmy Butler games that we've seen in the past. It would also be nice if Tyler Hero showed up and played. Although at this point, it's probably getting less and less likely that he plays this finals. But hey, we shall see. Game 5 will be on Monday with Denver Nuggets with a chance to close out the series. And if necessary, Game 6 will be on Thursday, and Game 7 would be Sunday. Again, that is if necessary. So, stay tuned. See if Denver can pull out their first ever championship on Monday. With that being said, there have been some comparisons this week after that awesome Game 3 we saw with triple doubles from both Jokic and Murray, as well as it being the first ever 30-20-10 triple double in the NBA Finals. An amazing performance. But after that game, they started getting comparisons to Shaq and Kobe as a duo. Now, at first glance, you're going to probably think to yourself, what the hell? Not a chance in hell. Kobe and Shaq got 3 rings together, and Jokic and Murray have 0 as of yet. And on that note, I 100% agree with you. Absolutely, totally. But what we can do is take a look at the first finals of Shaq and Kobe and put up against this first finals of Jokic and Murray. Just for giggles. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Jokic and Murray stats. This finals, Jokic is averaging 30.75 points per game, 13.5 rebounds a game, 8 assists per game, 1.5 blocks per game, 1 steal per game, and 3.25 turnovers per game. His running mate, Jamal Murray, 23.25 points a game, 10.5 assists a game, 5.75 rebounds per game, 1 steal per game, 0 blocks, and 2.75 turnovers per game. Now, let's hop into our way back time machine. Doodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo. And let's visit Shaq, his first finals appearance with Kobe. Now, this is not his first ever finals appearance. You remember that was with Orlando. But his first one with Kobe came in the year 2000 against Indiana. That series went 6 games, and that was their first championship as a duo, the first of their three-peat. In that series, Shaq went absolutely ballistic, averaging a monstrous 38 points a game, 16.67 rebounds a game, 2.33 assists a game, 1 steal per game, 2.67 blocks per game, and 2.17 turnovers per game. His running mate, Kobe Bean Bryant, his first appearance in the finals against Indiana. He had a little tougher go at it. If you remember, I believe it was game 2, he had a little bit of an injury. He only played first quarter, not even the complete first quarter, like 8-9 minutes. So his numbers are a bit skewed because of that, but no excuses. Kobe averaged 13 points a game in that series, 3.83 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, and 0.8 steals per game, 1.17 blocks per game, and 1 turnover a game. So when you look at that, and granted, as I said, this was 6 games for Kobe and Shaq versus only 4 to this point for Jokic and Murray. Still haven't completed the mission just as of yet. But when you combine the two as a duo, Jokic and Murray, they combined for 54 points a game in their first finals appearance versus Kobe and Shaq's 51 points per game. So, advantage Jokic and Murray. When it comes to rebounding, 19 and a quarter rebounds per game for Jokic and Murray versus 20 and a half rebounds per game combined for Kobe and Shaq. So, advantage Kobe and Shaq. Now, here is where things get a little bit astronomical and where the game gets completely changed. Assists per game. The combination of Jokic and Murray is 18.5 assists per game, while Kobe and Shaq combined for 5.83 assists per game. Obviously, advantage Jokic and Murray. Blocks per game. Only 1.5 blocks per game for the combination of Jokic and Murray versus 3.84 blocks per game for Kobe and Shaq. So, advantage Kobe and Shaq. Steals per game. 2 steals per game combined for Jokic and Murray versus 1.8 steals combined per game for Kobe and Shaq. Advantage Jokic and Murray. Turnovers. 6 turnovers a game for Jokic and Murray versus only 3.17 combined turnovers a game for Kobe and Shaq. Advantage Kobe and Shaq. So, this is a fun comparison. Obviously, Kobe and Shaq was the better defensive combination in their first appearance in the finals. They turned over the ball fewer times. But when you add in the assists per game, it just gets ridiculous. And it is an obvious win thus far for Jokic and Murray. So, looking at the numbers to this point, assuming the Nuggets can wrap up the finals, we can say that although it's too early to compare the duo of Jokic and Murray to Kobe and Shaq's career as a duo, we can say that Jokic and Murray are off to a better start in the final. So, moving along from that, but still sticking around in the finals, it's very rare to see a trade go down during the NBA Finals. Um, in fact, in recent memory, I can't recall the last time I've seen one, if ever, to be honest with you. But the Denver Nuggets, while currently playing in their first ever NBA Finals, um, I guess it doesn't mean they can't still think about their future. On Friday, they agreed to trade a protected 2029 first round pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for the least favorable of Oklahoma City's 2024 first round picks. Also, the number 37 overall pick in this year's 2023 draft and a 2024 second round pick. And this was reported by ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. So, just looking at this trade, the logic for the Nuggets it makes sense. Although it's odd, the timing of it is odd. It definitely makes sense. This roster is starting to get pretty expensive, and they got some more extensions to give out coming up. So the object is to get some more talent at a low cost. So they take a way in the future pick and move it to the Nuggets, to the Thunder, who have an abundance of picks, to get a pick sooner in 2024. They'll be able to get a first round pick on a favorable contract while they're paying the rest of their core. It's a pretty smart move, actually. It's planning ahead. They're playing the long game. They know they won't be able to make many changes to the roster with the financial burden of all of those players. So this is a great move. They'll be able to get a young guy in. And we've seen what they've been able to do with their picks and how they're able to make them early contributors. So I think this is a good move for the future of this organization. Now on the flip side, for Oklahoma City, their situation is a little bit different. They got an overabundance of picks. They are loaded right now already with a lot of young talent on the roster, and more to come. At some point, they're going to have to pay all of these guys. So what they did was space it out a little bit more. Push one of those picks back a little bit farther and then see what they're working with. I think this is also a smart move. It's a win-win for both teams. If Oklahoma City, one of those first-round picks in 2024, happens to be a top 10 pick, they still good because they're giving up the least favorable of it. So it's a good trade all around for both squads. But yeah, it's rare that trades occur in the playoffs, and yes, they are legal. Yes. I did have to look that up for myself. I was like, what the hell? After the trade deadline, how is that possible? But apparently, yes, after the team season ends, after the regular season ends, they are able to make trades. So that is good to know. But it's just interesting to see a team, while in the finals, still preparing for their future. Smart GM, in my opinion. So, moving right along, some more moves being made or rumored to be made. CP3, Chris Paul, is rumored to be waived by the Suns. His $30 million salary becomes guaranteed on June 28th. So indications from both Shams Charania and Chris Haynes are that he's going to be waived prior to that date, though it has not yet been confirmed. Phoenix is still pursuing trade opportunities for CP3. But you know how it goes. Everybody knows his contract is guaranteed on the 28th, so they're not going to go past that date. Other teams will just sit back and wait and not have to pay $30 million. Um, so, um, according to an article on CBS.com, and I'll post a link in the description so you get a chance to check it out for yourself if you're interested. But they listed some potential teams for Chris Paul, about 10 teams. Yeah, about 10 teams to keep an eye on. And as I go on down this list, I want you to, if you comment below, tell me what you think about each one of these potential landing spots for the veteran point guard Chris Paul. The first one I think is the most obvious, and I would have to say that this is my pick for, I think, the best place for him to go, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers. Go ahead and join in with your banana boat teammate, your buddy, old homies, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. That combination could be a nice little triple threat for the Los Angeles Lakers, if the price is right. And he can probably play with D'Angelo Russell if he's brought back. Especially if Russell can take the brunt of the minutes and let Chris Paul, use him like Miami did Kyle Lowry this season. It could work. The next team they list is the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, this is one I don't feel as confident about. I like Russell Westbrook there. I like the run that he made. I think that they could have made a much deeper playoff run had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard been healthy. So I don't really agree with the Clippers as a fit for Chris Paul, but hey, who am I? Let me know in the comments what you think about that landing spot potentially. The next team is listed as the Boston Celtics. Another interesting team. They could probably offer him a mid-level contract. On the verge, still a championship contender. Even though it didn't quite work out for them this year, they still made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. This team, though, I think is really, really deep at point guard. But if you can bring them in for low minutes, I guess it'd be good to have a vet around. But I'm not as impressed with this potential spot as well. I do think it's a little bit better of a situation than the Clippers, but I don't love that one either. Let me know down in the comments how you feel. Next up, another team that actually on the surface it kind of could make sense, but they kind of already got the player like this. I'm talking about Miami Heat and a similar player, a different style of player, but similar as far as just an older veteran player that doesn't get a lot of minutes, and that's Kyle Lowry. And I don't think that's a mesh. I do think that Chris Paul is probably a better player at this point in his career still, but is not the type of player that you would just cut Kyle Lowry and sign Chris Paul. I mean, it's not going to move the needle too much for you. But I digress. Let me know how you think. Now, this next one I think is it could also work. And this team is the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, before y'all come for me, Drew Holiday is the starter. I'm not trying to replace him. He remains to be so. But if you can, again, convince him to come, take a lesser role off the bench, less minutes, backing up Drew Holiday, that could work. That could work and be pretty effective, pretty scary. for the rest of these. The next one on the list is the Philadelphia 76ers. And this one is interesting. I mean, if James Harden ends up leaving, then yeah, I think that could work. But with Harden and Maxey, I don't know about that one. Maybe off the bench, again, lesser role, mid-level. It could. It could. I don't want to jump and say that won't work. That could still work, even with Harden. But again, Paul's got to come off the bench. But that could work. Well, I do like Nick Nurse as the coach. That could really work. Next up, also to keep an eye on, as we pass our top 5, our number 6 team, the Memphis Grizzlies. This one is an interesting one. It can be comparable to his time in Oklahoma City, but this one also can work. He could be some cushion for the Grizzlies if and when the expected Ja Morant suspension comes down. And when he comes back, he can go back to the bench and, it can extend him a little bit more, I mean, he'll be the leader that they need. They need a leader on this team. Although I don't know if the personalities will mesh. I don't know how Chris Paul fits in that locker room. That's my only question. But they do need a strong veteran leader, so it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. Next on the list, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Also an interesting fit. If they can move Mike Conley and bring in Chris Paul on a cheaper salary, that could fit. Alongside Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns and one of my favorite young players, Anthony Edwards. It's not a sexy squad, not a sexy fit, but it could work. They could use a veteran leader to bring them together, a veteran point guard. So something to keep an eye on. The next team they list is the San Antonio Spurs. Definitely not a contender, but could be a veteran leader for a young team that Pop is expecting to have. And also can help with help be a leader with the development of Victor Wembanyama when he's brought in. Again, not a sexy spot, but it could work if he just wants to stick around, make some money, and stay in the league, stay relevant. They'll probably be able to pay him way more than everybody else. Last but not least on this list, the number 10 team, the Chicago Bulls. My squad, my favorite team. Those of you that know. Lonzo Ball, we don't know what's going to happen. He may or may not play ever again. So Paul, if the Bulls are in a situation where they're just going to hold fit with the roster that they have, maybe bring in a player like Chris Paul on a mid-level, it might can convince them that playing alongside Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic could work. I know he's also got a great relationship with Kobe White. He came up through Chris Paul's camp. So that would be an interesting one. If the Bulls stood pat, I could actually see them making a play for that. They're in serious need of a point guard. And if the price is right, hey, why not? Moving along to Damian Lillard. Dame time. Dame Dollar. Dame Dollar was in the headlines this week, and oh man, he had the NBA world up in arms when he mentioned on The Last Stand with Brian Custer of Showtime Sports that Miami and Brooklyn were possible places that he could see himself wanting to play if he were traded. Oh man, oh man, oh man. The NBA world was buzzing. It's time. It's time. The dang Lillard trade rumors must commence. Let's go. Um, Also, though, when Brian Custer asks if Dame thinks that he'd be a member of the Trailblazers next season, Lillard's response was, "I do." So he does think he'll still be there. Um, but that's not going to stop anybody from making all of the mock trades. It's going to be a full offseason of mock trades, so this should be exciting. But reports are also that Portland is shopping the number 3 pick as well as Anthony Simons to bring in some big name talent that could help build around Damian Lillard. So, where do you want to see him go? Let me know in those comments. I will be interested to see your proposals, your squads. Oh my goodness. Somebody else that was in the headlines this week, and not necessarily in the best way. Young New Orleans Pelicans superstar Zion Williamson with some public baby mama drama. After an injury-plagued season full of turmoil, Zion Williamson and his girlfriend had decided to spread some joy and announce that they were expecting a baby girl via a gender reveal party. Now, looking at the videos, this seems like a very classy party. Fully catered, filled with family and friends. It was held in a lavish mansion with games being played and gifts handed out. It truly looked like a fun event. I wish I was there, you know. And you couldn't help but feel happy for the kid Zion. But. It all turned bad when porn star Mariah Mills publicly revealed that she and Zion had also been involved in a relationship and proceeded to go on a complete social media tirade trashing Zion for lying to her. Now, she revealed that Zion offered to buy her a home in New Orleans and she would help him out with his diet. And she had no idea that Zion was in a separate relationship and even called his girlfriend all kinds of trash. Now, in my personal opinion, as a porn star, your whole job is to cheat. But who am I? I digress. ESPN Stephen A. Smith gave a masterful, tirade on his podcast on this subject. So I'll defer to him. But now, a third woman comes out. A digital creator by the name of Yami Taylor posted on social media, "I never gave you a threesome or never had an OnlyFans or was on Pornhub. So I guess I was all play. I probably never had a chance, you nasty ass sex addict." Wow. So y'all pray for the kid, man. Y'all pray for Zion. The kid could definitely use some real guidance right now. Moving on. And finally, the last NBA head coaching spot was filled. The Toronto Raptors are hiring Darko Rajakovic as their next head coach, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. The Raptors went with Rajakovic. I'm sorry, I'm getting it wrong. I'll get it right in the future. But he was a Memphis Grizzlies assistant. Let's see. Some of Rajakovic's history. Before becoming the Raptors head coach, he was an assistant for the Grizzlies, like I said, for the last 3 seasons. Before that, he was an assistant under Monty Williams in Phoenix. And he spent 7 years as an assistant with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kovic has also served on the coaching staff for the Serbian national team at the 2019 FIBA World Cup in China. And the Serbian native first joined the NBA in 2012 when he became the head coach of the Thunder's G League affiliate team, the Tulsa 66ers. During those 2 seasons at the G League, Rajakovic coached the Sixers to a 51-49 record and a trip to the G League semifinals in 2013. After those 2 seasons, he was elevated to an assistant with the Oklahoma City Thunder under Scott Brooks, where he was on the staff of OKC teams that featured both Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. So, congratulations to the Toronto Raptors, the last team this offseason to hire their head coach. Best of luck to him. The Raptors feel that he'll be able to help on both fronts, whether they decide to keep their core intact with Siakam and Van Vliet and OG Anunoby, or if they decide to flip course and do a complete rebuild, that he will be a good teacher for the young folk. So, shout out to the Raptors. Congrats. Coaching vacancies are now filled. Last but not least, the most bizarre story, and probably the craziest headline that you will hear in the world of basketball. Conor McGregor sends Heat mascot to the ER during NBA Finals Game 4, according to a source. So, as if losing Game 4 of the Finals to the Denver Nuggets wasn't enough, or wasn't tough enough on the Heat, now there's this. So during the halftime, mid-game bit that had Conor McGregor was promoting his pain relief spray. During the bit, he cold cocked Bernie with a hard left hook and sent him sprawling to the floor before landing another punch on the ground while spraying his product on him. Wow, he was getting dragged away. Clearly, it was a designed skit. Bernie had confronted McGregor while he was wearing some gold boxing gloves, but the power behind McGregor's punch, it turned out his lights. The man who played the beloved mascot, Bernie, was taken to the emergency room of a nearby hospital for treatment on Friday night. According to a league source briefed on the matter, the man was given pain medication by the doctor and has since been sent home and is now doing well. Wow. Lots to unpack there, but I want to hear what you guys got to say about that one. Just apparently a skit gone wrong. Conor McGregor hasn't been in the ring since July 2021, but he's expected to come back late in 2023 against Michael Chandler. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe Michael Chandler will come with Bernie, the Miami Heat mascot, to get some good old vengeance. Hey, and ladies and gentlemen, before I get out of here, I like to give my little last word of the day. And with that being said, one of the things I like to talk about outside of sports is movies. Another new movie dropped this week, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. This was a hot one during my youth. A hot storyline was, Beast Wars. So, I had to go and check it out, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a very fun movie, and they set up a really big future You know, if you a little bit older crowd like the one who watches this, you'll know what I mean when you see it. Um, it had me hyped, had everybody hyped, and it's like, wow. Now I can't wait for more. I'm not tired of the Transformers at all, and especially adding this brand new twist now, which I'm not gonna spoil because it's still early in its run. Um, but man, things are heating up, and I think some attention is about to be brought back to the franchise in a big way. So, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked this week's episode. Um, if you did, you can help me out by dropping a like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit that bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on anything else that we drop. But from the On My Hoops podcast, I hope you guys have a great week. Love you. Appreciate you. And I holla.